Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome all of you who are here in person attending this event, and also to those who are joining us via our live stream feed. My name is Scott Hendrickson, and I am the Associate Provost for Global and Community Engagement here at the university. And I'm very pleased to introduce and welcome our speakers today to this event. The event today is called Welcome and Protect Jesuit Refugee Services Response to the Crisis in Ukraine. And so JRS, the Jesuit Refugee Service, was founded by the General Superior of the Society of Jesus, Father Pedro Arrupe, in 1980 as an international Catholic organization with the mission to accompany, serve, and advocate on behalf of refugees and other forcibly displaced persons, that they might be able to heal, learn, and determine their own future. The mission of JRS expresses the commitment of the Society of Jesus, or the Jesuit Order, to stand with refugees around the world. And JRS programs are currently found in 57 countries, serving refugees, displaced people, in conflict zones, detention centers, on remote borders, and in densely populated urban areas. The importance of JRS's work is highlighted by the fact that today there are more than 100 million forcibly displaced people worldwide. And so this number includes refugees, internally displaced people, asylum seekers, and people who JRS has made a commitment to serve. And as conflicts continue and crises become more protracted, this number will only continue to increase. And so wherever there is a need, the Jesuit Refugee Service is there. And so today I'm very pleased to welcome and introduce two speakers from JRS, Diana Hedemak and Elena Zinkiewicz, who will help us better understand the work of JRS as they respond to refugees fleeing Ukraine and others who have come to Romania seeking a place of welcome and protection. And so let me just briefly introduce each of the two speakers, and I'll turn it over to them. Diana Hedemak is a legal counselor for JRS Romania. She graduated in 2017 from Nicolae Titulescu University in Bucharest, where she studied European and international law. After graduation, Diana continued her education and received 2 master's degrees from the University of Groningen in the Netherlands, and international human rights law and global criminal law. And so over the last number of years, Diana has volunteered for different organizations promoting human rights. She has been with JRS Romania since March of 2021. And Elena Zinkiewicz is lead member of the Ukrainian team at JRS Romania. She graduated from Odessa National Menkinkov University in 2010, where she received a master's degree in foreign economic activity management, studying international and Ukrainian law and economics. She worked for the Securities Commission and Road Service in Ukraine, various IT companies, and founded Zone Digital Agency. And so once the war broke out, Elena moved to Romania and started to help refugees from Ukraine as a volunteer with JRS in Romania. She's now full-time as a staff member of JRS Romania team, where she manages the Ukrainian team and takes part in all the projects, in any projects to help refugees from Ukraine. Today's event is being sponsored by my office, the Office of Global and Community Engagement here at the university, also being co-sponsored by other units in the university, by Mission Integration and Campus Ministry, and also by the Hank Center for Catholic Intellectual Heritage. So I want to also welcome Dr. Michael Murphy, who's the director of the Hank Center, joining us today. And then other guests are here also from JRS. So I welcome Julia McPherson, Mark Mateka, and Mark Priceman that are also here with us today in person. This event is part of the Forum on Global Affairs, What We Are Learning from the Ukraine. And so now I would very happily like to turn it over to our speakers and invite, first of all, Elena to speak first. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening to everybody. First of all, I want to start my speech from my personal story, because I'm from Ukraine, like you already know. And when the war against Ukraine started, I was in Odessa. And I lived in separate apartments. My family, parents live in one apartment and I'm in another. And when it was started, this was 24th of February at 5 o'clock in the morning. We heard siren. We heard bombs from somewhere. We don't know exactly where it was. And my parents called to me by phone and said, you know, the war started. And we didn't know what is it and how to manage with everything. And I just look at window and figure out that all people running from different sides try to buy some products, petrol. This was the mess of cars and people. And I asked parents to stay, that I will stay at my flat one day to figure out what to do next, to speak with friends, relatives, gather all the information. Because, like already mentioned, I'm from IT area and we have main information from different resources. And I ask all my engineers to search some information, what to do, what to expect from this situation, how serious it was. And when one day passed, I figured out that this will be something serious, but we don't know what. And I took all my clothes, brought it to the flat of my parents, and I every night during 5 days stay in Odessa. I took my parents for the night on my flat because it was with parking, with underground parking where we can hide. And we, like engineers and like IT members of whole Ukraine, try to do our all the best to protect the Ukraine, to prevent this aggression, to hide all the information, all valuable information that we have. We try to close links with addresses of Russian websites. We try to close addresses in the map of Ukrainians' important objects. So we do all that we think will help. And when 5 days passed, my engineers told me, you know, you should go take all your family and go out from Ukraine because it will be more longer than we cannot do nothing. This didn't help. We feel that this will be more and more serious than we expected. And that is why I asked my parents to come with me, but this was very difficult. They, more than 35 years, didn't go out from the country. And my father, like a strong man, didn't expect it that when he is 66 years old, he should go and leave everything and go to anywhere. And he don't know what expect. He don't know how it will be. And I really asked them, and they agreed in the last moment. We took the car. And this was 4 days of road to Romania. 4 days without sleeping. This was 4 days that we passed the border, Moldavian border, and go to first city of Bran in the middle of the winter. with snow and everything, winter, snow, rain, nothing. It was complicated for normal behavior of people. And we come, and this is on this moment I figure out that I should connect with Romanian volunteers, and I tried to gather the information, and I took 30 contacts of Romanian volunteers and asked where we can stay for a more long period of time. And one of the Romanian volunteers allowed me to stay for 2 weeks in the very center of Bucharest. And I say, okay, this is like a sign that I should stay in Bucharest. And after that, when 2 weeks passed, I again up the question what to do next. And my friend from Berlin, he was in this period of time also volunteering in Berlin, and he said, you know, I know their administration of voluntary organization in Romania, and this is JRS Romania. You can write to the staff and probably they will help you. And I immediately write and ask what I can do, and they provide me accommodation for free. This was unbelievable. For free, 2 months in the hotel with all Ukrainian refugees, and where I start volunteering. I live 2 months in this hotel, and once upon a time I wake up and figure out that, okay, 2 months passed and we need to think about what to do next. And I go up on the 3rd floor of this hotel. This was the office where Diana sits and all the staff from JRS, and I ask, probably I can be somehow useful for you. And they agreed to give me some opportunities to create the database of Ukrainian people who live in this hotel, and I start to work like volunteer with them. And when 3 months passed, when the staff of JRS Romania proposed me to become a part of team, and we start to figure out what Ukrainian refugees really need when they stay in Romania. This is accommodation for how long period of time. Should be 1 month. What they do next? Probably this is transit country, or they want to stay longer. Should be for more longer period of time. What they need? Money, food, clothes, education, kindergarten. We gather all this information and try to make like strategies. This is short-term strategies, medium-term, and long-term, and figure out for what period of time what we will propose to people to let them to feel this safe and friendly of the country. And this was the first step to create daily activities and like educational and just for fun. This is during 7 months we already organize activities and lessons. This is lessons for better understanding Romanian culture. This is learning Romanian languages classes for medium and start level of education. And this is English for adults and teenagers, psychology and mental supports, because this is also important. Social and legal counseling, also different. This is the photos from English and Romanian languages courses. So when people pass 3 months, we provide them certificates that they were attended, and also kindergarten. This is very important for children because by statistic right now 11,000 of children, Romanian children, don't have places in Romania for kindergarten, and that is why we decided that this will be very useful for Ukrainian refugees to have their own kindergarten. And this is like a start, because this is kindergarten not official. This is only for 3 hours per day. Parents can leave their children in this kindergarten, and this is like a first step of opening real kindergarten for the whole day. We start right now. We currently make like built a new kindergarten near our office. This is a reconstruction of the old building, and this kindergarten will be for 4 hours per day. And this is, this is very main things for mothers who came alone with children, because they cannot go for work, they cannot earn money, they cannot live normally. They should be sure that their child or children are in safe and they can live there, and the children will receive some education. So we provided also art therapy. This is the photos for women and children. This is like art that people painting, and due to this painting we try to check their mental health and how they are. Also we speak with all time we speak with people, because in our team this is 7 Ukrainian speaking members that all time ask people and care about them, and this is like a hub of friends for Ukrainian refugees. This is some photos from chess, like educational courses for children. We all know that this is very important game to develop the minds of children. This is like in playful method. Also integration activity is very important, because we try to create different groups. This is separately for teenagers. They can, like on the first photo, they can gather together in any cafe that we provide opportunities with books, go to the cinema, bowling, museums, everything. We ask teenagers what is interesting for them, and also this is for all members of families. Create some parties. This is like just make a slight feeling at least of normal life in like in Ukraine it was. And one of the important part of our work, this is voucher distribution. We provide social and financial support. On the left photo, you can see how vouchers looks like. They have 7 protection levels, so this is enough secured. And we provide these vouchers with different value to Ukrainian refugee. This is the process of distribution in different cities of Romania. These vouchers with different value. People can buy on these vouchers products, go to pharmacy, some clothes. Even right now we're distributing vouchers in Bucharest for winterization. This is the clothes for children, like for winter, because we understand that already 11 months passed and children need, they grow up and they need to change clothes all time. And this mother who came alone with children needs this money. And this is, we have different donors. One of donors, Plan Japan, like on the picture, we have also Caritas, Core, Javier, and this is we created different programs, depend on conditions that donors want. And also, sometimes we provided our own condition due to the groups of people who need more. For example, this is people with disability, this is large families, 3 and more children, and we compare who receive, and after that provide it to people who never receive from us to cover as more as possible a unique person. Also, we try to support with medical. This is the photos from meetings and also with grandmothers. We ask Regina Maria to come, members of Regina Maria to come to our office and provide some assistance to make everything for free, just to check your health and then understand if something worry, that you can come to us and ask this, and we also will cover the medical support and all money that you spent on buying some pharmacy, some medical pills or so on. We can cover also for every family in a limited amount. And by the way, we help in Romania to Ukrainian refugees, and also we don't forget about Ukrainians in Ukraine, and we try to provide help. This is our partners from Vinica, and we give them money to buy products, generators, everything that hospitals need, that people who are in pension cannot work also need these products, and our partners provide this already in Ukrainian cities. So one of the things, main things, and our main goal that we try to do, and with whole team, that creating like a community of Ukrainian and Romanian people, a friendly community, like you know, like club with the friends where people can easily come and ask for help or any question or something else, and we will provide all this help for easy. And because one of the goals this is to help people who disoriented in Romania to find any method of continued live. So we try to do our best, and I hope this is meaningful. Thank you. I would like to introduce Diana. We will continue our presentation.
Thank you so much. So I will shortly describe our work before the war. JRS was present in Romania for over 20 years, worked in promoting and protecting refugees' rights. We were involved in many projects during these years, and during the past couple of years, we focused on several ones. And you can see those in front of you. It's about housing. So we provided rented apartments to those who have international protection. We provide an alternative to detention, assisted repatriation and reintegration, integration of refugees, and our new approach is unaccompanied foreign minors. And I would like to mention also our project that we had with UNHCR for many years, border monitoring and advocacy. So, before the war, the assistance that we provided was not in so many places. We were present in 6 cities in Romania, close to the main border points. However, since the war started, we started giving assistance to those people close to our offices at the border, and then slowly going to the cities where we had the offices, but also extending to those places where the need, where the help was needed. We didn't have any experience in humanitarian response. We didn't do this before. Nobody in our team had any experience in doing it. So we were just trying to do our best, and we thought that our best was simply listening to people's needs. So we started with food, water, hygiene products, blankets, clothes. A lot of people were bringing clothes to our office so they can have. I remember some of them were simply coming with a supermarket bag and 2-3 sweaters and maybe one more jacket, and that was. Also cash assistance, legal assistance, but also shelter. I remember the first person, Ukrainian refugee, coming to our office, and it was actually during the Mass. We were celebrating St. Paul de la Colombière in our office, and the first refugee came in. So the Jesuit community was actually the first one who donated for this crisis. And he asked, okay, I'm here, but I don't know what to do next. I'm scared. I traveled for so long, and I need a place where I can sleep. So the first option was our center next to the office. You can see the picture on the left. There is a mother with a child. Basically, the center was for the ones that we receive as under the project of Alternative to Detention. But then we separated and we split the center in two. So on one side, there were migrants from Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq, also Somalia, and other countries. And on another side of the center, there were the families or mothers with children coming from Ukraine. And they were staying there for 1 or 2 nights and then going somewhere else. We realized that this is not enough and we cannot just stop here, and we need to find other options. So then we asked the local Catholic community to help us in any way they can, and they were receiving refugees in their homes or in some apartments or houses that they had available, and they were caring for them. Also, they were bringing them food and whatever they needed for about 1 month. That was also not enough. A lot of people were coming, a lot, and we couldn't just stand there and say, okay, we don't know what to do, go somewhere else or find something else, because we were actually one of the organizations, actually the only one in the beginning that was providing shelter to people. So we decided to rent a hotel, the hotel Olena mentioned before, where we met. At the same time, we could accommodate around 100 people at that hotel. So basically the idea was for mothers and children to come there and stay for a couple of weeks until they decide what they do next. Either they stay in Romania or they go back to other EU country or non-EU country. We had a lot of cases in which they decided to apply for visa for Canada, some also for visa for UK. And they were staying there at the hotel until they got the visa, and then they could fly to those countries. Basically, the ones that wanted to remain in Romania, we tried again to help them further. So through, with the help of CAFOD and Renovabis, we managed to help people to get apartments. We assisted them in all the process, from finding the apartment to talking to the owner, to explaining the law and the contracts that they're going to sign, to the reimbursement of the rent. It was for at least 6 months. We have people that we have assisted since April last year. So if it is to give some numbers, we have assisted more than 1,500 people in apartments only. One of our main focus during the crisis was, and it still is, education. So everything started from one woman, one Ukrainian teacher who came to Romania and was craving to offer Ukrainian children proper education. She basically refused to do any online education anymore, only if necessary. She wanted to be face-to-face with children and to give them what they were needed for so long. So she went to Romanian high school in the center of Bucharest, and she talked to the principal, and the principal agreed that after the Romanian classes, they can have in the afternoon the classes to have their own courses. So there are actually courses under the Ukrainian curriculum. I want to mention they are not recognized by Ukrainian government, and that's an issue still for the children, because basically they will lose some time. Right now, from that, so that was one school. We are calling them educational hubs. From that school, the model replicated to other schools in Bucharest and in the entire country. We have been present in more than 20 educational hubs, hiring more than 150 teachers, Ukrainian teachers, who can teach children and meet with them every day. Other organizations also took this model and tried to implement it in other cities where we cannot go, because Romania is a big country for us. Besides the educational part of the children, we also try to encourage and to train teachers. They know how to teach. They are amazing teachers. Some of them educated outside Ukraine, some of them also in the US, so they know exactly what they're doing. But they don't know what to do in emergency situation. How do I teach Ukrainian children during humanitarian crisis? So we tried to provide that as well. And also to have other types of activities with children. We did summer camps during last June, and also trips, workshops, so many non-formal education activities. However, we could not do this alone if it wasn't for the local community, the local Catholic community, that helped us a lot in the beginning, but also now, and other private donors. We actually had a campaign at the local Catholic TV channel, and it was called Adopt a Refugee. So basically, people from the Catholic community can actually help a specific person or a specific family with whatever they needed, food, clothes, travel costs, whatever they needed. To other big organizations and partners, and I would only mention a few ones, for instance, World Vision, Plan International, UNICEF, Xavier, and many others. To the one proposal. One proposal is a unified response to the Ukrainian humanitarian crisis, coordinated and implemented by the Society of Jesus. One proposal is not only about Romania, it's about also other countries, and is again a model that is replicated in all these countries. And basically, it goes from the immediate humanitarian response to the long-term assistance. One proposal was built with the idea of 3 pillars: welcome, protect, and promote. Under the welcome pillar, it is a thought of emergency assistance. So basically, the first thing that we do when an Ukrainian refugee is coming to us. Under the protect pillar is our holistic approach, which was also before the war, present in Jesuit Romania office. Basically, here we're talking about what we are doing. We are doing shelter, legal advice, psychological support, different kind of activities, and advocacy. And under the promote pillar is about the integration process. It's about also some activities that we want to do regularly. You have seen the calendar Olena was showing before. We want to create a safe place where they can come and feel good with each other, just feel safe, somewhere safe, where they can trust. Under the one proposal, we have helped more than 9,000 people only under these projects, but in total, somewhere around 27,000 people. Right now, in Romania, there are a bit over 89,000 Ukrainian refugees who have temporary protection document. So maybe being there, it would be easier to help, or for us, I mean, we felt there the help of everybody who was involved. So we would like also for you to be involved in this humanitarian response. And you can do it through raise awareness, advocate, and fundraise. I would like to thank you from behalf of Olena and myself for listening to us and for being here, and for having us here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elena and Diana, for sharing your experiences with us. Elena, for sharing your personal experience of the war and your displacement as well. And for helping us better understand what some of the response has been, how JRS has been very involved. So at this time, we'd like to open up for questions and conversation, or some questions and answers with our speakers. So we would invite, if you are joining us via the live stream, to place any questions, I believe, in the chat function, and we will try to answer them as they come in. I'd like to invite Julia McPherson from JRS to join me here and to help maybe moderate this section of our event. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to help. So yes, we'd love to open it up to questions here in the room first, and then may also be facilitating some questions from the online participants. So anyone in the room have any questions? And I'll repeat the question just to make sure that our friends online can hear as well. Yes, please go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit more about what protections or access the Romanian government provides for refugees in terms of accessing healthcare or work permits or things like that? I'm familiar with the situation in Poland, but I'm not sure how Romania.
Great. So just to reiterate, so what is the Romanian government's response to the Ukraine crisis? What kinds of services do they provide in terms of work authorizations and temporary protection? So yes.
So basically in Romania, they don't need work permits because they have a temporary protection that allows them also access to medical care, to work, and basically they have a lot of rights that Romanian citizens have. So they don't need a special work permit. What the government did was to respond to the shelter, to the accommodation need. They implemented a project, let's say, that offers the owners of the apartments in Romania, for each Ukrainian refugee, $10 per day for accommodating them. They don't pay rent, but the government gives them directly money. This, in theory, it's a good, it's a good approach. In practice, a lot of landlords have took advantage of this situation and they tried, let's say, in a 2-room apartment to get a family of 6 people, because then they took a lot of money. It was like 4 times bigger than the rent that he would have received from just, let's say, a couple. That's one. And regarding the medical care, basically, also in theory, they can go to any doctor and ask for help. However, the family doctors don't really want to take them in. They say they don't have enough space. They don't have time for other people than they have in care. So that's also a big issue right now.
What in terms of work authorization? So maybe about work authorization in terms of.
I responded.
You want to cover that?
I can say it again.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure.
Yes, and also like a small addition that Romanian government also provide so Ukrainian refugees can select in educational part what language they can study, so children can study. This is not like in another countries. This is like mandatory that they should learn, for example, German language. Romanian government provide the school for only in Romanian language, but this another case of difficult of this situation that right now Ukrainians have their own education online, and the parent time to time select online school in Ukraine because this is official education, because Ukrainian government don't accept Romanian education. But this like opportunities that children can learn and can study with Romanian children also and be involved in this society. But also we should mention that about program 5020, it will be ended, and we really afraid approximately in March we expected this information. This is not right now official, but we expect this, and we don't know what will be next because all funds are finished, and we need somehow to support Ukrainian people and how it will be, because right now, for example, if we provide vouchers like financial support, but another organizations that provided before, this is UNHCR or Red Cross, they already finished to provide this help, so people cannot take from somewhere money if they didn't work. And that is why people ready to wait at least 4 hours how it will be need just to receive, for example, $50. And this is very important for them just to receive some money for food for children. So difficult still.
Yes, John, please.
This must be a question for you. In terms of JRS USA advocacy policy points, what positions have you been pushing for?
Absolutely. So the question is about JRS USA advocacy policy points, and speaks a bit to Diana's second to last slide about advocating and the importance of advocating on some of these issues. So I'm happy to answer that. There are 2 primary policy areas that JRS USA is focused on right now as they relate to responding to the Ukraine crisis. One is encouraging the U.S. government to continue providing overseas humanitarian assistance to Ukrainians. There are millions of internally displaced Ukrainians still inside Ukraine. They haven't crossed a border into a neighboring country yet, like Romania, and they are in need of significant humanitarian assistance and sustained humanitarian assistance. So that's one priority area. The second is that about maybe 6 months ago now, the U.S. government launched a new program called United for Ukraine, which is a temporary protection for Ukrainians It allows Ukrainians to find a sponsor here in the United States and come to the United States under what's called humanitarian parole. So it's about a 2-year temporary protection. They're allowed to come to the US, and then they can stay by applying for asylum, or they would have to return back home after that temporary period. So we are asking the United States to continue this program and to find a more sustainable solution to those parolees if they wish to stay. If any of you are familiar with the asylum program in the US right now, there's a significant backlog. It's really challenging for individuals who are seeking asylum. So we'd like to ask Congress in particular, and we do ask Congress, to sustain their protection by adjusting their status to a more permanent legal status. So those are just 2 examples of ways that we're advocating for US government support for Ukrainians both here and overseas. Yeah, great. We have a couple questions from folks online. Just grab them. Okay. So the first question is JRS Romania asking JRS USA to assist with placement of Ukrainian refugees in the United States? So that's a great question. I can ask that, and maybe, I don't know, you can talk maybe a little bit about any requests that some of the refugees you work with have for going overseas. I know you mentioned a little bit about Canada, Diana, so maybe you could talk about the assistance specifically related to JRS USA and placing Ukrainians here in the US. I mentioned this parole program you need a sponsor here in the United States. So we do periodically get requests from Ukrainians, and this parole program is also applicable to Afghans and has been actually recently extended to Venezuelans, Nicaraguans, Cubans, and Haitians. So it's been expanded pretty dramatically over the past few weeks and months. So we do receive inquiries from individuals from those countries who are seeking sponsors. We unfortunately have limited capacity and can't facilitate those kinds of connections, but we try to pass those requests along to other organizations who might have some capacity to do that. So that's how we've been able to respond a bit. But maybe, John, if you can talk a little bit about just some requests you get from refugees you're working with to transfer to other countries, what JRS Romania is able to do.
Yes, so basically we had this request mostly when we were at the hotel. It was a transit period of time, so people were still figuring out what they want to do, where they want to go. And JRS Canada did actually approach us, and they told us, okay, we have this program, we have some donors, we can help. And we're ready to help. Also, the government would be ready to help. So please let us know if some people that want to go to Canada need assistance in with buying the ticket and with everything that would be on Canadian territory. So we started with one person, and then they talked to each other, and more people came. And it was really interesting because they just came. Some of them didn't know anything but Ukrainian or Russian. They didn't talk. They didn't speak English. It was challenging to in trying to explain how to take the plane, where they have to change planes, and who they need to talk to when they get to Canada, and all these kind of things. They were scared, but they knew that there they will find the Ukrainian community and that people are ready to help them. And it was really secure. That gave them a safety feeling, because they were asking, do you know someone in Canada? Do you have relatives or friends there? If not, don't worry, we'll find someone under the Catholic network who will take care of you until you find more permanent solutions. So yeah, that was a really good collaboration with our colleagues in Canada, and yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, I'll add that our Canadian colleagues are more directly involved in resettlement and sponsorship programs. They've had experience doing that, which is great. That they
Yeah.
can help you all. Yeah. Okay, great. So another question from online. Are there any refugee education programs that offer Ukrainian children and education that is recognized by Ukraine's government. So you had mentioned earlier that unfortunately the Ukrainian government currently doesn't recognize the Romanian curriculum, but is there any level of recognition of maybe some of these informal programs or maybe online, or what are their options for Ukrainian children if they want to return?
So basically right now they do online education. They have a couple of hours, 3-4 hours during the morning where they have online courses with their teachers. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It depends on the electricity and internet in Ukraine. But in Romania, our teachers, almost all of them, are doing online courses in the morning, and then they go to schools to do these face-to-face courses in the afternoon. Basically, those courses in the afternoon, they could be some of them are recognized by the Ukrainian government if the teachers do some how can I say, some administrative steps in Ukraine. So they say, okay, I have these children, they don't go to your school necessarily, but they're doing Ukrainian school, so please recognize these studies in these educational hubs in Romania. So, and this happens to most of the children that we have. But yes, at some point these educational hubs will end because it's going to, the Romanian government is asking for integration and enrollment in the Romanian schools. And this is the challenge that both governments is facing, and I know that there are going to be some talks between the two governments and see what possible solution we can find so these children don't lose another year of their education.
Lena, do you want to add anything to that from your perspective, working with one of the students?
Actually, like small additional information that, for example, I will provide just example. We have like a school based by Ukrainian person. She had a kindergarten and school in Ukraine. She's from Odessa, and she create this like hub for educational hub for children in Romania. And due to the fact that she had established the school in Odessa, like Ukrainian school, time to time, if parents will pay some money for all documents, providing all documents, made it official, she can make this education in her hub, Ukrainian hub in Bucharest, like official education in Ukraine, due to the fact that she can go and prepare documents like children graduated her school from Ukraine, but the school located in Bucharest, something like that. And this is limited possibilities for Ukrainians because such hubs are only in Bucharest and it's not so many. So this is like an example how it can be.
Thanks, Elena. We do have another question from online. How have churches been involved in the response? And Diana, you had mentioned the Catholic community was a big support to JRS Romania in the early days in particular, and clearly the Jesuits have really supported this effort. But has there been a broader sort of church faith-based response in Bucharest or throughout the country?
It was at the beginning when people needed shelter, so that's when we called to action from everybody we knew. So okay, if in Bucharest there were no places anymore in some monasteries or people that we knew within the Catholic network, then for sure there was someone that could take them outside of Bucharest, and that happened. We sent people from Bucharest to the mountains where we knew that the parish could actually help these people further.
Thank you. Any other questions from the room? Oh, great. Yes.
I'm going to come back to the education part.
Yes.
Do you help us for students or for the professors to find jobs in Romania? Do you talk about kids education or about students?
So the question is, does JRS Romania help facilitate job placements for teachers or students who have graduated from Ukraine?
So basically, we, as said also in the presentation, we have hired more than 150 Ukrainian teachers. But there are also other organizations who are working with Ukrainian teachers, and so we, not a lot, but some of us who are involved in the educational project, we really came together and helped Ukrainian teachers to find a job. Regarding students, we didn't get involved in this because basically it's the decision of the universities how they're going to enroll Ukrainian refugees into their programs. The challenge is that in Romania we don't have so many English programs, so that's going to be a bit difficult and not so many options, but hopefully in the near future we will have more.
And one thing that I want to add, this is like Ukraine, I'm like coordinator of Ukrainian team, and we created the calendar with activities. One of these activities, this is like a help not only teenagers, this is not about students, but this is about teenagers and women who want to find job. We help them to create, for example, LinkedIn account. We try to involve them in some remote position that they can study or speak with them, how they imagine their life and further what they want, because many Ukrainians who came from Ukraine, like refugees, they have their specialization, and for example, lawyer cannot work in another country because they know law of Ukraine. And so this is like example, many specializations cannot be used. So people should study something new. And this is very difficult to figure out what exactly they want to study. And we make like these group sessions to speak with each other. And on the beginning, also we have like some propositions from restaurants, from another schools, from different organizations that are looking for Ukrainian staff, and they propose without English or Romanian knowledges of language, propose a job. So we also try to help be like in the middle, like a connector between people who are looking for job and between organizations who provide it. But this is also limited propositions, and we cannot make it and advertise, but time to time it can be.
Thank you, Lynn. We're at time, but maybe you could take one last question if anyone in the room has a last question. I believe we don't have any more online. Great. Final question? Well, on behalf of JRS USA, I also want to extend my thanks to Loyola Chicago for hosting us. It's been a fantastic team that gathered together to co-sponsor this event, so thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I want to and just thank everyone for joining us today, for our attendees that are also joining us live stream. I do want to just put a plug in global and community engagement. Like I mentioned, this is part of a wider series called What Are We Learning from the War in Ukraine? It's part of our forum on global affairs. And our next talk is actually just a few days away, February 15th at 12 p.m. It's online only, so you can find the link on our website, Global and Community Engagement. The title of that talk is The War in Ukraine and U.S. Foreign Policy. So Dr. Alex Grigoresco, currently the chair of political science, will have a conversation and hear from Ryan Gerlinger, who is in the Office of Eastern European Affairs at the State Department, the U.S. Department of State. So again, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and your work with us. And it's been a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much.